Hi, I'm Jacci Pillar, Neurodivergent, non-binary truth bomber, and this is Talk-ist. And on today's show, we have Ki Hayward. And this is something we like to call Newsworthless, where we turn fluff into stuff. Today, I fished out something that's a little bit old, to be truthful, but I have to van person a little bit because this article is about Tara Moss. So yes. I know, I'm such a nerd, and I also like to write. So, I like to write. Doesn't mean I'm not, publishable, but I like to write. And so this article came out with a while back, and it's Tara Moss is embracing life with her walking aid in the hopes of raising awareness. And it's got some really stylish photos because, again, we were talking about how our aids for living as disabled people are quite often heavily policed by people.
Yeah,
and big time, yeah. And I thought, this is interesting, these comments, she says, I've been using a mobility aid since early 2016, on and off, when I need it, like millions of other people. Visibility matters, so it's important to start being more open about it. And the walking stick that she has actually has a name, and I'm so stoked. It's like Wolfie, and it's just gorgeous. And it's like, I was like, I need things for sensory stuff, and I often wear sunglasses, and I was going to call them sunnies. No, that doesn't quite work, does it? Why do you think it is that people feel the urge to police our mobility aids? Notably, other people in the disability community too, I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think in this case, to be honest with you, the rave on about the walking stick got me quite intrigued to begin with when reading the article. And I'm kind of thinking to myself when reading it, well, it must be a special bloody walking stick. Is it a Nimbus 3000? Like, is it some Harry Potter-esque magical, you wave it and a rabbit appears? Like, is it that special?
And its name's Wolfie. I just think that's so, that's so awesome.
But is Wolfie that special that, my wheelchair, like, that carries me everywhere. That's a stick. Most people have a walking stick nowadays.
And people struggle with the idea that some aspects of our disability are episodic. They happen at different times, and other aspects are fixed, let's say. I don't know quite. That sounds like something you do to a dog. But anyway, just this notion that disability is fixed and concrete in their minds. And I think it's great when someone like Tara Moss goes, boom, okay, I'm just doing this. But then the way questions are asked of her are just so typical, and we've all experienced that, our whole experience. And then if we celebrate a mobility aid, people are like, I actually know of someone in a wheelchair who people are constantly saying, I actually heard a story about a woman with her young daughter with a pink wheelchair.
Yes.
And another child saying, oh, great pink wheelchair, and the mother saying, don't give her the idea that it's a good thing. And it's like, whoa,
But that comes along to the concept as well, and mostly with wheelchairs and mobility scooters, I've seen this is where, people proudly display and I'm one of those folk as well, who proudly display their chariots on display for everyone. But there's modifications you can get. You can get flashy neon lights, you can get fancy rims, you can get fancy paint work done nowadays. Some of the sporting chairs, they look like the Tesla of sporting wheelchairs. A few friends of mine, for instance, have quite unique shaped chairs. as to where it almost looks quite space age. And again, like, the Tesla of wheelchairs. But yeah, like, people are actually taking pride in their chariots, their disabilities, their, and I mean, this is a minuscule example of it, I guess, but a walking stick is a common device that majority of people use, I would argue.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I have, I'm autistic, and that is not acquired. That's something I've been all my life, but I do have acquired injuries that mean that I have been told a few times I should start thinking about, as I age, walking with a walking aid, because for comfort, and I just, and when I, I do things like trek when I, can scrape together a little bit of money, which is not very frequently. And I've always had to use 2 sticks where everyone else didn't have to. But in that context, it was considered acceptable. But, I have an assistance dog, and the whole drama's over, like, can I pat the dog? People patting the dog, people just assuming, all sorts of things and becoming visible. I'm like, yeah, no, I like your Nimbus 3000. I think that sounds like a whole range we could start. But, wings on it and everything. We could put wings on it. It's got sort of Pegasus.
Make it fancy.
Yeah. Look, I've been saying, if I have to have a walking aid and it happens to be a walking stick, I want something that looks like a lightsaber. And if it was like potentially functional, I could possibly even cause people damage who kick the stick away, because that's, walking canes for people that are vision impaired, that's something they report that happens.
Can I just get one of those for when people annoy me? Because, I mean, I'm going through a delayed teenage angst phase at the moment. Thank you, delayed puberty. I could, whenever they annoy me, I can just kind of cut something off.
Oh, that's a bit brutal. I fancy that,
Be an angry cripple.
Oh yeah, look, here we are laughing at things we shouldn't laugh at, talking about existing, talking about being successful. Because we're not allowed to be successful because we don't pass the Stephen Hawking's test.
Exactly.
All of those things. And on that note,
God forbid, if we don't have a piece of paper, our lived experience is not valid.
And then when we have a piece of paper, our lived experience cancels that out. We basically.
Instead, we have people telling us, oh, but we could teach you X, Y, and Z. Well, yes. I'll tell you what, bucko, I could teach you a hell of a lot more.
And with that, my assistance dog has just walked in and nudged me. On that note, we will say goodbye for now. Thank you very much, Kai. Thanks for being on Talk-ist.
Thank you.
Don't hit anyone with a walking stick, and don't cut their limbs off with a lightsaber. But anyway.
Spoil my fun.
Oh, dear.